Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratenuto at Diablo00 is where you can find me on Twitter. And yes, you can check this out live on Twitter, on my Facebook, and on YouTube. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, and C005 on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, but it's live on YouTube. We're going interactive, man. You can comment on those sites on this. You can hit me up on Twitter, as you see, at Diablo00. But yes, the purpose of the show, we go around Sun Devil Nation. We cover all sports. Yes, it is fall season. We are very excited, obviously, for football. Yes, Coach Kenny Dillingham, new head coach, mostly all new staff. And they are 1-1. They are taking on Fresno State. The Bulldogs roll into Tempe this Saturday. To take on the Sun Devils. And look, the Devils looking to right the ship, go 2-1. It has been a very successful non-conference play for the Pac-12 so far. Oregon, the only teams with losses are ASU. I want to say ASU and Cal. Cal lost a tough one. They had Auburn on the ropes on the road. Yeah, they had Auburn on the ropes on the road. And Auburn and Cal, Cal had the lead, but Auburn was able to end up winning the game, and I want to say it was 14-10. Yeah, I want to say it was 14-10. Yeah. Cal scored 10 points in the first half. Auburn shut them out. In the second half, they got shut out for 2 quarters, but Cal shut Auburn out for 2 quarters in the first and the third. So, again, but you look at the Pac-12 standings. So Cal, ASU, and Arizona, because Arizona did lose to Mississippi State. Stanford does have a loss too, but that's a conference loss because they took on USC last week. As you know, they both play Notre Dame, and they have forever, rivalry-wise for years. So that's why usually USC and Stanford will open up Pac-12 play early. So, yes, that's a conference loss, but yes, Arizona, they did lose to Mississippi State on the road. But, I mean, it was 31-24 in overtime. So, yes, oh, so great SEC struggling against teams. You know, the whole conference is great. And no, it's not. People say, oh, bitter, you know, Pac-12, blah, 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 this and that. But no, it's anyway. But yeah, conference-wise, the Pac-12 with those 3, I mean, Arizona State, and Cal are all 1-1. But yes, I mean, the first weekend they were the only conference to go undefeated in non-conference play. Washington State smacked around Wisconsin again, this time up at the Palouse. But nonetheless, the Devils got the win against Southern Utah, and then against Oklahoma State. We're sitting there. You know, the defense was punching. We talked about it. And the defense was punching, and the defense came out very, very, with the game plan, and they did play all 3 quarterbacks. Did Oklahoma State, and we talked about it last week. How even Coach Dillingham and Coach Ward were thinking probably wouldn't see all 3, but we did see all 3, and the Cowboys able to come away with the 27-15 victory. But yeah, defensively, the second half, I mean, Oklahoma State made some plays, but I mean, the sacks, the pressures, the open field tackling, I mean, overall looked very good. But when you look at what the defense was able to do, and I talk about what the defense is going to have to do tomorrow against Fresno State, and it's going to be very interesting because, look, I know that defensively, I mean, they can come out. You got to get to the quarterback quick. You got to stay in your lanes. But Mikey Keene gets the ball out quick in a Jeff Tedford offense, and that's the thing. They're not rushing for a ton of yards, so they're not making themselves just one-dimensional. This defensive line in front, the front 7, have a chance, Sun Devil fans, to make them one-dimensional. But that's the challenge. The secondary, I talked about it yesterday, is going to have to be up to the task, and we'll get to that more as the show goes on. But also volleyball, 10-0. I know you guys remember that. They beat Memphis yesterday in 3 sets. And in the Beale Street Classic, Memphis being the host of that, Beale Street being in Memphis, Tennessee there. But today they are actually going to be getting started against Little Rock as the show ends. They first serve at 1:00 local time here in Arizona. And so they will be taking on Little Rock, the Trojans, who happen to be, I can tell you their record, 3-5 overall right now. They did they're taking on Southern Miss at 10 a.m. and then they have to take on Arizona State at 3. So they maybe couldn't get but yeah, so Southern Miss will play Little Rock. They're playing them. Got to think that's about over. Let's see. Oh, well, Southern Miss beat Little Rock 3-0. And then Southern Miss will take on Memphis at 6 tonight, so they get a little bit of a break. But then Little Rock, like I said, at 3:00. Well, that's local time. They're only 2 hours ahead of us. Huh. I thought they were 3. Nonetheless, but yeah, so Little Rock dropped that, and then now ASU will take on the Trojans coming up at 1:00 local time, and that is 3:00 in Memphis. So, hey, learn something new every day. It's just off on the time there. They're ahead of us. Every place is just about ahead of us anyway, except for Hawaii, but that's okay. So yeah, I mean, for the Sun Devils and stats I talked about yesterday. Marta Levinska, I mean, she has 123 kills in 33 sets. And is tops on the team. Julie Sear has 120, and again, she is right behind her in second. But ace-wise, Levinska, like I talked about, in the top 10 in the nation going into yesterday, and dropped a few more aces. 22 aces on the season. And she is number 1 on the team, as Mary Stroll second for the Sun Devils at 15. But, man, just her outside power on the pin. When she's out on the pin, and she's a lefty, and so if she's on the right side, I talked a little bit about it yesterday. They watch film and obviously conference opponents that know her play, but you think, you want to be in front of them so they can't go straight down the line. But you're like, we'll step out just a little bit. And her being left-handed, already as she's elevating, her left arm already inside, it's easier to go inside when you're not used to it. But she's delivering a lot, obviously, of crushing kills, 123, like I said, in 33 sets played. But yeah, for her and for the Sun Devils, it's just it's awesome. And then you look at Roberta Rebello with 80 kills. So you have 3 players again that just getting a bulk of the sets, but delivering. And then even Claire Jeter, she coming in rotation wise in the middle. She has 49. Maddie McLaughlin has 45. Yeah, McLaughlin has 45. So, I mean, it's a team that, look, you know where they want to go to get points. And, you know, the 6'2" opposite hitter, Levinska, she can deliver, as can Sear. And they're an exciting, like I said, an exciting team to watch, a chance to go 11-0 today. They did receive votes being ranked, but I got to think after the weekend, if they go 12-0 going into conference play, that they should be definitely ranked. And for A, taking care of business, but B, just being absolute road warriors and doing all this on the road. So JJ Van Neal, again, can't wait till they get back in town on a more regular basis. Again, we've had him on. I'm looking forward to having him on again. And like I said, players as well. But yes, as much as they've been traveling, it's one of those things where as much as they've been traveling, it's one of those things where when you look at it, I mean, to me, that has to factor in. You have to win. You can't go 500 and be like, oh, okay, or have a losing record and be like, well, it's top 25 team just because they were on the road. No, but the fact that you've only dropped 3 sets in all these matches, and it's to me, that's, I mean, that, again, and people say, well, you know, the schedule and maybe some of the teams, but they've played pretty good teams. And you look at it, and to beat Memphis in 3 like that, I mean, again, if you take care of business against Little Rock and then Southern Miss tomorrow, like it's one of those things where you come into Arizona, I mean, with that huge momentum, and I said, like, Pac-12 teams playing a lot, and I'll, you know, talk about Arizona's schedule more next week, but, and who they've played, where they've been. And again, they were, you know, looking at Pac-12 standings out of conference-wise at the bottom, but again, a little bit shocking, but again, a phenomenal conference. I mean, women's volleyball for years. And yes, it's so great that the conference is breaking up after a 108-year history. But, you know, hey, there is no salt in this wound, not bitter at all. And when you think about it, with what ASU has done on the road, and you start conference play against Arizona, against Washington home, and then you take on, you know, highly ranked Stanford on the road, and then at Cal on the road, home for SC and UCLA, and then you go to the Oregon schools, and you become road warriors again. You have 2 weekends in a row where you're at Oregon State, at Oregon, at Utah, at Colorado. And then home for Cal, and they close out home against Stanford. Well, I shouldn't say close out, then playing Cal and Stanford again. So you're home for Cal, home for Stanford, and then you're at UCLA and USC, and then home for Colorado and Utah, and then home for Oregon and Oregon State. They go to Washington State, and then they close out at Arizona, which, again, is the same day as the Territorial Cup, which is usually on a Friday. But well, that's a Territorial Cup matchup as well. But football-wise, So that is the same day, but the time for that is to be determined. So Sun Devil Nation, you might be able to sprint on down to Tucson. You might be able to sprint on down to Tucson, watch the volleyball team, get the win there, and then come back up and go to the football game. But it just all depends on what time everything is at. So that, again, that schedule, and I mean, the conference just in and of itself is phenomenal. But yeah, I'll be very interested. I go fast forward. I mean, yes, they are taking on Arizona, bookending it to start conference play and end conference play, which is always nice to do. But yeah, get out there. Like I said, support them. Like I said, they got Little Rock today, 1 o'clock locally here, and playing in Memphis. So playing on the campus at the University of Memphis, which is pretty awesome. So, but again, you can hit me up on Twitter at Diablo00. Again, questions, thoughts, all that good stuff. Again, don't be bashful. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, look, they wrap this up. They finally get to come home. And again, Mullet Arena is hosting the 50th anniversary weekend, the celebration. I mean, obviously Thursday night, who's ever, for a lot of alumni are in town, hopefully they'll be out at that Arizona game on the 21st. But Washington, again, get your tickets. They're going to honor alumni from 50 years. And, you can go to the sundevils.com. And again, just get all the info. Go to the volleyball, go to the women's volleyball page. It has all the details. I'm not going to sit here like school and read it to you line for line. But nonetheless, it'll be absolutely very awesome to be a part of that. So looking forward to that. Soccer, obviously, as well. They are wrapping up non-conference play tonight. As they again suffered their first loss against a very good Texas Tech team, but they are 4-1-3, 4 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws. And I mean, they won their first game 4-0 over Wright State. Mississippi State came to town. I was there for that, and it was a 0-0 draw. Turn around and beat New Mexico State 4-1, beat UTEP 2-0. Boise State, they went to a 0-0 draw with. And then Kent State, they scored late, but got the 1-1 draw. And then they beat Utah State 1-0 and then fell to Texas Tech 1-0. So like I said, defensively, this team, again, young team, coach talked about it, but now they're hitting their stride. They're hitting their stride in the season. But that being said, they wrap up conference play tonight at 7 o'clock versus Colorado College. So it will be so again, get out there tonight, support them. Like I said, defensively, they're coming along. Offense, yeah, other teams are obviously playing defense too. But that being said, get on out there, support them. Because this team, once they start conference play, they're home for Oregon State, but then they got to go to Northern California as well, taking on Stanford and Cal after that. Then they're home for the Washington schools. They have Washington first and Washington State. They go to Oregon. Then they're home for USC and UCLA. Then they're at Utah, at Colorado, and finish up at Arizona. So Yeah, you got some time to check them out, but I'm just saying, like, it's going to be this team again has a chance to go back to the tournament, and Coach Graham Winkworth is hasn't had a job in getting talent here and developing it. So we've seen it. Well, fans that have been out, you've been around, you've seen it, you know. So, but they'll be taking on Colorado College tonight at 7 p.m. in Tempe. So, again, make it a wonderful Tempe weekend. Go check out some soccer tonight, football tomorrow night. Just have an overall great time in Sun Devil Nation. But I'm going to step aside real quick. When I get back, we will, again, break down a little more football. We'll hear from Will Schaefer. Spoke to him at practice earlier in the week. Linebacker, obviously, a kid that played at Saguaro for Jason Mons, who's a tight ends coach. But as we heard from Coach Mons earlier in the week, that he, he'll check in on those guys. He's looking over. He's seeing what they're doing. So, we'll hear from Will Schaefer and talk a little more about what the offense needs to do as well. But more coming up here on Pitchfork Lunch. Welcome back to Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Carrottenuto. At Diablo00 is where you can find me on Twitter. And message me. Hit me up. Message me. You got things, questions, thoughts about Sun Devil Nation, fall sports, baseball. Again, we're going to get to that. Willie Bloomquist, obviously hockey. Coach Powers, wrestling with Zeke Jones. Track, which had a phenomenal year last year. Again, we'll be out and about doing the show as well, too. Just getting started. Also, like I said, you can check it out live on my Twitter at Diablo00. Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube. It's M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C005. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. They'll be up there. Again, you can jump in and check it out. So please, again, feel free, subscribe to the YouTube channel and go from there. But yeah, you want to get involved, you want to comment, again, thoughts, questions, concerns, entertaining, I always say worthless stat facts, all that good stuff, right? It's one of those things where it's one of those things where I have fun with it. And again, even if you're a fan of another team, even that team down south, again, we can trash talk, we can banter, but again, let's keep it on the up and up. No need to to get ridiculous with it. That's the word, ridiculous. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where football wise, again, like I said, we are looking at the Bulldogs coming in 2-0, an 11-game winning streak on the line. They won their last 9 last year, which included a bowl victory over a fellow Pac-12 foe in Washington State at the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, and they've taken their first 2 games this season. And yeah, Fresno State so far beat Purdue 39-35 and then beat Eastern Washington 34-31. Did the Bulldogs, who are in the Mountain West, are 2-0, along with Air Force and Wyoming. So those are the undefeated teams in the Mountain West. But yeah, the Bulldogs again with an 11-game win streak going on. So yeah, they are very they're gonna have to be sharp. But I did promise you that we would hear from Will Schaefer, Sun Devil linebacker, former SaberCat alum, a SaberCat alum. I shouldn't say former SaberCat alum. But yeah, talking about the defense, what they need to do, what they've done so far. So without further ado, here's Will Schaefer.
All right. So, well, for first 2 weeks, obviously defense. I mean, getting after the game that BJ had. I mean, you're a linebacker. You're looking at it from, you're doing your job, but right behind him. Just talk about like his impact on the game and just overall for you guys as a defense.
Yeah, he's an energizer bunny. So seeing him getting out there, getting to the quarterback is great to see. It makes our run fits easier, makes our being able to get our pass drops easier. So being able to see him down there and doing what he can do, be destructive, that's good. Good to see behind him.
And the communication-wise, I know I talked to you about the camp team. I mean, obviously he was coming along, but within his defense, guys are rotating in and out. But how do you feel as a group that you've grown, chemistry-wise, but just communication and understanding where everybody's supposed to be and everybody's doing their job?
Yeah, we all close. We all talk a lot outside of this football. So just making sure that our trust level continues to go up. And once we have that trust level and once we being able to be comfortable with each other, we can be able to communicate without even looking at each other. We can just say a word, oh, boom, we know what we're doing now. So that's another part that we continue to grow and continue to do as a defense.
And then the overall physicality of the defense through 2 games. How do you feel that's at?
It's good to see the guys out there being physical, being able to whenever my number's called, to be able to go and contribute when I can. So it's good seeing the physicality get up and making sure that we continue to get hits on the quarterback, continue to get sacks and TFLs, because that's what wins you games.
And then Fresno State, I know you're looking at them on tape, but what kind of challenges do they present to you guys?
They do a good job getting lined up, making sure to get the ball out of the quarterback hands quick. So we just make sure we got to get in the passing lanes, make sure when he set up, we set up as backers and just break. And then also when it's time for third down, make sure we get to the quarterback getting off the field, because that's important. Can't be on the field too long that guys get dead legs. So make sure we get off the field when we can and make sure we could add some turnovers to that turnover margin.
And then I just talked to Clayton, obviously him and BJ in a little sack competition. Yeah. Clayton says he thinks it's not where you start, it's where you finish. You think he can catch him by the end of the year? What do you think about that?
He definitely can. He's definitely more than capable of catching them. So I feel that's good that he has that motivation to continue to grow on and continue to bring to practice in the games.
And there you go. That was Will Schaefer. And ask him again about Clayton Smith, but the linebackers. But they've done a good job. I mean, when he's been in there too, again, Coach Cooper, Coach Ward rotating him in, him and Trey Brown as well. I mean, have done just getting, making sure everybody's lined up right as linebackers, but still the communication, getting the play calls. I mean, they're just set, they're firing, and they're going to need that. Like I said, I mean, I know I've definitely overstated it. You know, like I said, I've definitely overstated it, but with what Fresno State has done offensively, to me, it's one of those things where I mean, this is a Fresno State team that, you know, Mikey Keene, again, thrown for 599 yards. He's thrown 6 touchdowns already. Does have 2 interceptions. He's been sacked 5 times. I mentioned Elijah Gilliam rushing yesterday, 179 yards rushing on 40 carries. So he's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. So, again, they don't run the ball a ton, but they're running it effectively. So, well, I mean, 40 carries through 2 games is 20. That's 20 carries a game. So, I mean, they're making an effort to run, but you making them one-dimensional and passing, it almost kind of plays into what they want to do. I mean, Eric Brooks, like I said, their receiver leading the team, 17 receptions with 265 yards. That's 15.6 a reception. So that's 1.5 first downs every reception. 3 touchdowns, like I said, for Brooks, a young man. Jalen Gill as well. I mean, he's over 105 yards in the season, but Brooks is the man. When you watching him and just again seeing some highlights. I mean, the crazy thing about Brooks, he's 5'7". He's listed at 5'7", 171 pounds. So yeah, you can't tackle and you can't cover what you can't catch. So I always say, can't coach height, can't coach speed. And I mean, at 5'7", you're thinking, okay, that's not your typical, prototypical, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver. But guess what? The young man's getting it done at Fresno State. Number 3, Sun Devil Nation. Yes. Keep an eye on him. The speedy guy running around the field, number 3. Yes. The secondary is going to have to be locked into that. But like Will Schaefer said there, and I mean, even heard from Clayton Smith earlier in the week that, him and saying him and BJ Green, a little wager on who's got the friendly wager on who's going to get the most sacks. Well, I mean, BJ again had 2 the last game. There was none the first game, but still he's got 2 on the season, and I mean he is just wreaking havoc. And like I said, shout out to Brad Denny, who again we will have on at I will have on at some point, but BJ Green, the Wrecker of Worlds. So. And he's getting in the backfield. So, but to spin that to the offense, I mean, again, this offense is the Sun Devil offense is going to have to move the ball. And people say, well, thanks, Captain Obvious. But here's the thing, consistently give the defense a break. But the defense getting the team off the field, I mean, it's when you look at it, I mean, rushing-wise, I mean, Cam Scattaboo talked about it after last week's game. Did a phenomenal job in running the Wildcat. We heard from Coach Aguano about the confidence in him doing it, and obviously having DeCarlos Brooks on the field too, or whatever, any other running back. But I mean, Brooks was on the field as the lead blocker and just, led the way for Scattaboo's the opening touchdown for the Devils. And he will we see more of Tevin White, in that role too, and getting the ball? And I talked to Coach Aguano about that. I mean, it's just these weapons. You have the receivers. You obviously have Elijah Badger, who we know, but Xavier Guillory, who 9 receptions for 120 yards in 2 games, had the uncharacteristic drop. I mean, to see a ball hit the ground that hits his hands, I mean, literally, it is newsworthy because people, I mean, that's how you get to Division I college football. But I mean, again, and he transferred and he was at FCS schools with Coach Regal. But yeah, he had that drop that would have been a first down, extended a drive. And it's just one of those things where, wow. He does have the 1 touchdown on the season, as does Elijah Badger. Troy O'Meary as well has a receiving touchdown on the season. But yeah, I mean, and you type even Scattaboo in the passing game, 5 receptions for 40 yards. you have guys that you can, again, distribute the ball to. You can keep the defense all balanced. It's not just like, oh, it's Elijah Badger and, nobody else receiving. So, I mean, you have a Geo Sanders. Obviously, you have, tight end wise. Tight end wise, obviously, a Jalen Conyers and, Messiah Swinson. And Bryce Pierre, I mean, he's coming on too. So that like tight end group with Coach Mons, he talked about it. Like the weapons are there, the offense is there. Stay patient in it, and you can see the growth. So they're going to need to do that. I mean, yeah, I just said to you that obviously Fresno State can score quick. Mikey Keene getting the ball out fast. It is it's one of those things where it's one of those things where, yes, he can get the ball out fast. They want to get it out quick, and guys are within their offense. So that's going to be interesting. But for the ASU offense, again, you have those weapons that I just mentioned. Yeah, I mean, look, it's how Jaden Rashada has played. I mean, again, he's under 60% completions, a true freshman. And again, it's not just, the first year it's a hall pass. Yes, the Coach Lamb said they're here to win. Everybody says, the first year you let all the talking heads and protagonists and the, analysts all say that, right? But they're there to win games. Every coach is going to tell you that. They're not looking at it as, okay, well, this year we don't have to win. We just have to, show this. No, you're going to show improvement, but you want to win games. So, look, is it an uphill battle? Yes. When, knock on wood, obviously the offensive line, I talked about it, had to be shifted around. We talked about having guys that can play different positions and, within, spring ball and even fall camp, guys moving around and other guys playing positions. We talked to Coach Saga about it. And, they're not just playing another position to fill in. They're playing it to the level that position is expected to be played at. So that's a good thing. The bad thing, yes, the offensive line is a mash unit right now for the Sun Devils. And, looking at it too, I mean, center wise, look, it's at center, Leaf Faltanu, who's the transfer from UNLV. I mean, he's locked it down in the middle. I mean, Joey Ramos, little banged up. He's got his right hand taped up. He can play with it. Obviously, the soft cast, and it's challenging. But Ramos, again, putting it all out there. A young man that was unfortunately lost his season last year due to injury, but now he's back. But yeah, I mean, you look at last game losing Emmett Boley, talked about that, which is unfortunate. And then Isaiah Glass as well, has been out. And so you look at the offensive line and, some guys going down and, injuries, unfortunately, are going to hit. And like coaches always say, nobody cares. Well, I mean, they care about the obviously health of a person, but you still have to, as we always say, roll the ball out and play. Nobody cares about your situation. Their job is to go out there and win, just like yours is. So, look, offensive line-wise, they're going to have to give him some time to throw. But that's the thing. And, and people say quarterback-wise, look, Jaden Rashada, as a friend, like you can see the growth, and coaches talked about that in his pressers. Like, yeah, you would, of course, in a perfect world, everybody would love the completion percentage to be up over 65%. You know, I mean, everybody saw what he did with, obviously, a guy had a little more experience, but Bo Nix last year at Oregon, completing 75% of his passes, putting people in the right spot. So again, like I said, you have these tight ends, you have these backs, even if it's just, people say, oh, the dump offs, like, like bubble screens, or, you're throwing it out, you're dumping it off underneath, but you're seeing passes caught, you're completing passes. Then when you hit that big shot, like he has with Elijah Badger, like he has with Xavier Guillory, and even if, knock on wood, like I said, another quarterback comes in, like they're going to have to hit those shots too. They're going to have to play to that. So it's one of those things where offensively, look, they can do it. And the offensive line, again, it's been mixed around. I know, you have a guy like Ben Bray came back with experience that can be in there, but also Max Ianacre, who's the junior college transfer, but 6'6", 320. He was playing next to Joey last week after the injury, and Joey was talking about that earlier in the week. I had him on here talking about playing next to Max, and he has, and it's not like, hey, it's game time, let's go. It is next man up, but it's not. You've worked on this stuff in practice, but it's not practice anymore. So, you know what you're doing. Let's get it done. And so, look, he came in last week against Oklahoma State, and again, I would say after the first drive, again, was seemingly, comfortable with Joey right there. So, again, we'll see what the offensive line looks like. But, yeah, when you're a mass unit like that, again, it's not an excuse. It is tough. We all know that. Everybody knows that. So, but, look, I mean, do you need to get these receivers a little more involved? Yes. I mean, Elijah Badger. You have him back on kickoffs, which is huge. Melquan Stovall, again, this kid's catch radius. Another thing, like people say it's practice, but I'm not talking like in practice where they're just warming up. I'm talking individual drills when they're going one-on-one with the defensive backs and being covered. I mean, Stovall's catch radius and, one-on-one, 7-on-7, 11-on-11, like the young man is doing it and returning punts. He has been very solid back there for Coach Regal and on special teams. So, yeah, there's a few other guys. You might see Javen Jacobs, return a punt. And he's a young man. Will we see more of him in the slot as well? He moved to running back during spring ball because of, again, knock on wood, some injuries. But he can play the slot. You can line him up in the backfield. It's just that, that extra weapon. And I mean, again, he went to Saguaro, kind of like a former Sun Devil as well, who's consultant for the pro, DJ Foster. Like, DJ Foster started in the backfield and they wanted to split him out, and he did both. And so, yeah, I mean, you can get him the ball, you can work him in, play these mismatches, but yes, you want to feed Badger. Yes, you want to feed Guillory, Conyers, like I said, Bryce Pierre, even Messiah Swinson, again, 6'8", 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". Like, put the ball up top in the red zone. That should be just lobbed up top every time, obviously with touch. But just, yeah, the corners aren't. You're not gonna, without pass interfering. You're not getting the ball from him on a jump ball. You're not. You're just not. See a guy 6'8", puts his arms up, is like 7. Is a 7'1" wingspan, 7'2" wingspan, I think it was. But still, I mean, you put the ball up, 5'10", 5'11", 6-foot corner is not going up. Now, if you had Ro Torrance out there who's 6'3", that could be a little interesting. But most defenses don't have that. So once again, it's spread the ball, but sustain drives. Take what the defense gives you. Move the ball. Pick up a first down, because you keep that defense fresh. We saw it last week against Oklahoma State, Sun Devil Nation. You keep that defense fresh, and they will absolutely they can wreck things. Not just BJ Green, the wrecker of worlds, but, I mean, Clayton Smith, Deshaun Mallory as well has done it. And, even when Clayton Smith got ejected, Prince Dorba, the redshirt junior from Dallas, Texas, he took rotational wise, he was in a lot more in that Southern Utah game when Smith got the targeting call, but he's looked good on the defensive line. And then you have a guy, obviously talked about BJ Green, but then you have Garen Stansberry, outside too, who has gotten bigger and just needs to trust his physicality. Trust your form, trust your physicality, because it's where. And then in the middle, Tristan Monday, has been just lights out. I know I said I'd talk offense, but I'm saying if the offense stays on the field and keeps that defense fresh, but Michael Matou's back. I've barely even talked about him, and he, coming back from injury, but just his leadership, what he can do. Yeah, it's a new system for him, but Coach Ward talked about, earlier in camp, or even in this, like at the end of spring, I think I asked him too, but just having Matou's presence and, leadership wise, but, how he contributes on the field. And you can just see it, working with the other guys, and, it's huge. But like I said, Tristan Monday as well. So look, I love defense. I'm excited for it. The offense, they do have the weapons. They need to get it to them. They need to sustain drives, and you need to see that, especially in the second half, because the first half of both games, minus the 2.5 hour delay, because both teams had to deal with it, but it still sucked. It is hard to get momentum going back. I don't care what sport you play, even when baseball, when they have, if they have an hour and a half delay because of rain, the first little bit coming back on the field, and usually have a different pitcher throwing because, he warmed up his arm, everything like that. So, pardon me. But that's the thing, like, move the ball, sustain drives. Yes, we all know in football you're not going to score on every drive. If you did, well, then the coaches and how they do that, they would have cracked the age-old question of how can you score every time in football, which, you're not going to score every time, but get some drives, build confidence, keep the defense off, pick up, say 2 first downs in a drive. If you have, let's say you have, I'd say 1 per quarter, so 4 3-and-outs or less, you strive for that, then you'll be in every game. ASU will be in every game. Their defense can keep in every game. We heard Clayton Smith talk about it the other day. So, but I'm going to take a quick break. When I get back, we will wrap it up, and I will let you know what's coming next week. And we, again, just thoughts about next week. Again, huge for volleyball. They're finally coming home. But soccer as well will be home, and football will open up conference play. But let you know what's coming up next week. Take a quick break, and we'll be back after this here on Pitchfork Lunch. All right, back here on Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Cartino at Diablo00 is where you can find me. Again, live on my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C005. Subscribe to the channel. You can check it out live there. You can check it out live on Twitter at Diablo00, Facebook as well. And coming soon, we're working on it. We don't know why, because the technology, everything's set right. But I'll be live on KSRN, and you can check it out, the Casual Sports Radio Network. You can go to their website, Casual Sports with a Z.com, KAZUALSPORTZ.com. And then when you get to the main page, it'll say download the app. So download the app. You're going to be driving around. You're out and about. Like I said, I will be taking the show on the road. And if you want to get involved, again, you know how to get a hold of me. Hit me up on Twitter at Diablo00. We can set up a private time to chat, but please feel free to do that. But we will be taking the show on the road. So you can come out again, Pitchfork Lunch, have lunch, talk Devils. Again, we'll have coaches and players on. All sports, different sports. Again, hockey, wrestling, track, yes, football, obviously, basketball, men's and women's as well. So looking forward to talking to Coach Hurley. And even though I saw him at the Final Four kickoff, but Coach Hurley and Coach Adair as well. Ran into her at the football game last week. So that is, again, that is very awesome. So yeah, we'll be taking the show on the road and doing all that good stuff. So don't be bashful, but yeah, on KSRN, so you can download the app if you can't watch. Again, it'll be on KSRN Live, 12 to 1. It'll replay later, but all the audio will be there. The whole show will be there. So you just won't get to look at our pretty faces. That's the only thing. But nonetheless, I want to get you involved. So yeah, we'll be out and about, but yes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. Again, M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C005 on YouTube. Subscribe. Again, it's all there. The shows are there, so you can go back, and if you don't get to check it out live, again, you can watch them. But so yeah, coming up, like I said, this weekend, it is volleyball's wrapping up tomorrow in Memphis. They're just about to get underway today to take on Little Rock to see if they can improve to 11-0, undefeated on the season. Love it. Sun Devil Nation. Yes, forks up. We love it. Forks up, Sun Devil Nation. But nonetheless, we love that. So going for 11-0. Soccer, again, had their first loss, but looking to rebound against Colorado College tonight, 7 o'clock in Tempe, Sun Devil Soccer Stadium in La Crosse. It's east of Rural. It's next to the Farrington Stadium softball field. It's in the, it's behind the bubble. The practice bubble for those that haven't been there. And then as you see football, yes, taking on Fresno State Saturday at 7:30, Mountain America Stadium, home of the Sun Devils, Frank Cush Field. Get on out there. Get loud. Enjoy it. Yes, it's college football season. So get out there and again, we'll enjoy it. But here's the thing. We again, there's the stadium, it's the student section. Look, they've turned out. Wasn't too happy about a lot leaving at halftime last week. Again, I don't understand where you have this Saturday night, man. Whatever's going on, haven't been in college, whatever party's going on is going to be going on at the end of the game. Promise. But yeah, I mean, the Inferno, they've definitely showed out. So we need them to show out again. Student section, let's go, show out. But yeah, so Saturday night, that'll cap it off, and then we'll be back at it next week again. 50th anniversary for volleyball, working on getting alum on that are actually still coaching volleyball, but played at ASU, went on to have very, very awesome coaching careers. Coach Stuck at GCC, Coach Mannix at Scottsdale Community College, and then Coach Burbridge, who, came out, was an assistant at ASU, coached at Phoenix College. Coach, I want to say, she coached at our alma mater, Chaparral, Desert Mountain, and now she is at O'Connor High School. So that is very awesome. But yeah, good work to have them on. Again, talking 50 years of Sun Devil volleyball from just different views and, their experiences. But yeah, get out there. We got to get out there next Thursday. I'll remind you all week long against Arizona. And then Sunday for UW. That's when they're going to honor have the 50-year celebration. There'll be a lot of alumni there. So, again, anything going on, we will let you know. But that is going to do it for me. Get out to the soccer game tonight. Get out to the football game tomorrow. And we will, again, root the Sun Devils on to victory is what I'm talking about. So, again, I'll see you Monday. Have a great, safe weekend and all that good stuff. Enjoy Sun Devil athletics. And, yes, you guys know, as always, forks up.
Cherry's three. Johnny Walker matching up against control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2. Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls on. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the front. Daniels,